Thank you once again. You're most welcome, promotion aptitude test candidates. We're using the YouTube studio to go live, but the network was not allowing us to use that app. Then we have turned to a software that will help us go live now. Today, we'll still continue with our promotion aptitude test discussions, and you still need to be back for us to discuss one or two questions once again. You're most welcome. So we're dealing with some questions while we went off. The network was not helping us to enjoy the lesson, but we have found a way of coming back to the promotion tutorials. You're most welcome. Let's continue with whatever we were discussing. So, in the institution responsible for establishing the ethical standard for teachers is Ghana. Is what institution? The institution is the National Teaching Council. It is responsibility to see to it that the ethical standards in Ghana Education Service is established and teachers follow the ethical standard. So the institution responsible for establishing the ethical standard for teachers in Ghana is the National Teaching Council. So have it in mind. Anywhere you meet it, you'll be able to answer the question. So all the following are true about the National Teaching Council, except which of the following um, are true about the National Teaching Council and the one that is not passed. So the National Teaching Council, it has the overall responsibility to license teachers by law through the Regulatory Body Acts, 2020 Act 1023 gives the mandate to NTC, National Teaching Council, to um, have the overall responsibility to license teachers by law. Then it also has the responsibility to establish the framework around teachers' employment, and we need to have this in mind when we are going to write our promotion aptitude test. The next one is that it has responsibility to review the professional practice and ethical standard for teachers. That is another work of the National Teachers Standard. So what it doesn't do is that it has um, it has no responsibility or no duty to appoint, recruit teachers into Ghana Education Service. The work of this is GS. GS is responsible for the appointment, the recruitment of teachers in Ghana Education Service. That is the work of GS, and we need to have this in our mind. Then, under which of the following domains are national teaching standard organized? Under what domain? So, as I said the last time, the National Teacher Standard has three main domains. Three main domains. Three. It has three main domains. Number one is the professional values and aptitude. Number two is professional knowledge. And number three is professional practice. So the domains under which the National Teachers Standard are organized are professional values and aptitude, two, professional knowledge, and three, professional practice. Continuing to have this at your fingertips and you pass the promotion aptitude test. So it's much of important. Then all the following are district support structures in education in Ghana, except which of the following um, are district support structures. District support structures. So we have the PTA as part of the district support structures. We also have the SMC, and we also have the MIOC or the DIOC. So the one when we are talking about DIOC, that is the District Education Oversight Committee, or MIOC, the Municipal or Metropolitan Education Oversight Committee. That so the one that is not a district support structure is GS Council. GS Council is based at the top. So the GS Council is not a district support structure. So we have the PTA, we have the SMC, and the DIOC or MIOC at the district or the municipal support structure. So have it in mind when you are going to write your promotion aptitude test. Then, which organization implement pre-tertiary education in Ghana? This one is a simple question that usually happen all the time, or that usually comes in the promotion aptitude test all the time, and it's much important that you know. So the one that implements the pre-tertiary education, um, that an organization that implement the pre-tertiary education in Ghana is GS, Ghana Education Service. Don't forget to give a thumbs up of this video and subscribe, and please kindly support with the Momo line there, and give us your support. It is much important. We use data a lot, and we need you to support us to bring you the tutorials all the time. So which act has amended the function of Ghana Education Service? Which act has amended the function of Ghana Education Service? That is the 2008 Educational Reform Act. That is Act 778. Act 778 has amended the function of Ghana Education Service. So have it in mind. Anytime that it comes in the promotion exams, you're able to get it right. Then which act? Then the which autonomous body developed a curriculum for schools in Ghana, pre-tertiary institutions in Ghana? So which autonomous body has the responsibility of developing the curriculum for schools in Ghana? So the one that is responsible for the curriculum development is NACA. NACA is having the responsibility to develop the curriculum for pre-tertiary institutions or schools in Ghana. Have it in mind. It's most important uh, that you know this before you go and write your promotion aptitude test. Those who are joining us, you're most welcome. Like this video, or put a thumbs up on the like button for us. Now, the set of rules and regulations that stipulates what should be done and not to be done in GS is known as what? Those who are joining us, you're most welcome. I didn't share this, but people are still having ways of joining. That is great. That is great. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. I'm highly honored for you joining. So the set of rules and regulations that stipulate what should be done or what should not be done in Ghana Education Service is known as the Code of Conduct. The Code of Conduct. It is what tells the teacher what to do in Ghana Education Service and what not to do in Ghana Education Service. It is most appropriate that you know this. So in Ghana Education Service, you are not supposed to collect any unauthorized money in Ghana Education Service. It is most appropriate. And more to the point, you are not supposed to give an interview or give an information to any media house unless you are being given the authority to grant interview to any media houses or any media house. Sorry, any media house. So you are not supposed to do that unless you are given you are being granted permission by interview concerning the education in Ghana, or anything that concerns education. You need to get permission before you are granted to um, have an interview with a media house. So that is, those are the code of conduct. So what the rules and regulations that stipulate what you are supposed to do and what you are not supposed to do in GS is the code of conduct. So what's the next question is, what regulates the behavior of the profession? What regulates the behavior of the profession? The what regulates the behavior of Ghana Education Service, or as a teaching profession, is the code of ethics. This one is talking about the behavior of employees. So what regulates every profession has is code of ethics, and code of conduct is different from um, code of ethics. Code of conduct is what you are not supposed to do in the company that in which you find yourself. That is the code of conduct. But the code of ethics is what regulates the behavior, the attitude, then the actions of, what do you call it, the worker in that profession. So have it in mind. Now let's look at this one. The new structure and the content of education receive that conceive the JHS concept in which year? So the new structure and the content of education conceived the JHS concept in which year? So which year was the JSS concept established or conceived or brought to light? So the new structure and content of education conceived the junior high school concept was established in 1974. So in 1974 that the new structure and the content of education that concerned with the junior high school was established 1974. Have it in mind before you go and write your promotion aptitude test. It's most important. As time goes on, we'll look at the year that it was piloted. We'll look at the year that the junior high school was piloted. But the year that was established, it was brought, the idea was brought, was in 1974. 1974. So have it in mind. Then, how many management level do we have in Ghana Education Service? How many management level do we have in Ghana Education Service? You need to also know this before you go and write your promotion exams. How many levels do we have in Ghana Education Service? We have 4 levels in Ghana Education Service. Level 1 is the school level, then we have the district level, we have the regional level, and we have the national level. So have it in mind, we have 4 levels: the school level, the district level, the regional level, and the national level of management. So we have the school level management, we have the district level management, we have the regional level management, and we have the national level management. So have it in mind when you meet it, you're able to get it correct. Now, which entity settled dispute between the employer and the employee? So the institute or the organization or the body that settles dispute between the employee of GES and GES as an employer is the um, the National Labor Commission. The National Labor Commission is responsible for settlement of dispute between um, Ghana Education Service as an employer and the employees, example, the teacher in Ghana Education Service. You need to have this before you go and write your promotion aptitude test. If you can hear me in the comment section, write yes. If you can hear me clearly, write it in the comment section. Write yes in the comment section if you can hear me clearly. It's most important. Then Now let's continue with this question. Which organization is responsible for the national fiscal policy? The national fiscal policy. The national fiscal policy in Ghana. Which organization is responsible for the national fiscal policy? Yes, George. Okay, you're most welcome. We're using where I was trying to use the YouTube app to go live, but then the network was bad. So you can share, you can share with those who who are not able to join us on the other platforms, so that we'll move forward. So, which organization is responsible for the national physical policy? The Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance is in charge of any fiscal policy. Fiscal, we are not talking about physical structures, but we are talking about monitoring aspects. So the nation's fiscal policy is in the hands of the Ministry of Education. Any monitoring plan, any thing that deal with money, that generate money, that brings in money, that talks about spending of money, it is in the hands of the Ministry of Education. So have it in mind. Anywhere you meet it, you're able to settle down with the answer. Then, which entity is in charge of monetary policies of the country? I said we need to dive into so many areas that when these questions are dropped, you're able to have something to answer is most important. So the one that is in charge of the monetary policy of the country is the Bank of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana deals with the monetary policy, but the fiscal policy is also in charge by the Ministry of Finance. Any plans in acquiring um, economic development structures is in the hands of the Ministry of Education, and the one that deal with monetary policies of the country, how to regulate the foreign exchange in Ghana, and how to strengthen um, the local currency is in the hands of Bank of Ghana. So Bank of Ghana is having all this duty. Then let's look at this question. Which commission is responsible for setting standard for appointment, promotion, and discipline discipline for the public sector employees? Let's take the question again. Which commission is responsible for setting standard for appointment, promotion, and discipline for the public sector employees? So the one that is in charge is the Public Service Commission. It is the work of the Public Service Commission to set standard of appointment of um, head of institutions in Ghana. Then promotion of the employees is in the hands of the Public Service Commission. Then the discipline of the employees are in the hands of the uh, Public Service Commission. So have it in mind when you meet it, you're able to do justice to it. Then, when was the continuation schools instituted in Ghana? The continuation schools instituted in Ghana, that is in 1964, that this policy was brought in, that the continuation of schools was instituted in Ghana. Then, which policy was introduced in 1961? Which policy was introduced in 1961? That is in Nkrumah's time. And in 1961, that way, Ghana had its first educational act. The first educational act that gave the Ministry of Education mandate and power to develop and control education in Ghana was 1961. That is Act 87. Act 87. The first educational act that was passed in Ghana for the Ministry of Education to handle education in Ghana was in 1961, Act 87. So have it in mind. But the policy that was introduced in 1961 was the fee free universal primary education. Fee free universal primary education. So primary education, the first time primary education was made free was in 1961. That was contained in the Act 8 87, Act 87 in 1961. So have it in mind. So the fee-free universal primary education was introduced in 1961. No child was asked to pay money right from 1961 when this policy was introduced. So have it in mind. Now let's look at when the JHS policy was implemented. The first time the JHS policy was fully implemented was in 1987, but it was piloted in 1976. But it was piloted in 1976, meaning that some selected schools were chosen for the JHS to start, but for JHS to be rolled over all over the country was in 1987. 1987. That was Rawlings time. It was Rawlings time that the junior high school was fully implemented. So have it in mind. If you meet it, you're able to. So which year was the junior high school piloted? 1976. 1976. But it took full implementation in 1987. In 1987. So have it in mind. Anytime you meet it, you're able to do justice to it, and it's important. Now, which of the following is not an autonomous body of GS? Is not an autonomous body of GS. So in the 2008 gave powers to some bodies that were autonomous in GS, and they held in the development of the three bodies that were autonomous, and were established by the 2008 Educational Act. One was Inspectorate Board. Now, currently, it is called the National School Inspectorate Authority. So it was called National Inspectorate Board. Now it is called the National School Inspectorate Authority. Then the National Teaching Council was also another body that was autonomous in the establishment of the 2008 educational reforms. Then we also have NACA, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment. So the one that is not autonomous, or a body that is not autonomous in GS, is the Ghana Library Authority. That one is not an autonomous body. So have it in mind when you meet it anywhere. You're able to do justice to it and solve and get your marks. Then, which governing authority is responsible for matters relating to licensing of teachers? This question they keep on reframing the question in so many ways, and these questions usually come in any of the ranks, most especially from AD2 up to DD. Take these questions very serious, or read around these areas very serious. And this year that a lot of batches are being put on put on to write the promotion exam, it will be very, very, very difficult. If I don't tell you the facts, then I'm lying to you. It will be very, very difficult, and you need to prepare adequately to be catched by the net of the promotion trap. So have it in mind. Prepare adequately well before you go and write your promotion aptitude test, especially AD2 and AD1. Please, these two ranks, prepare adequately well before you go and write. Other than that, you'll be in trouble. Then let's move forward. So I said the governing body. So the governing authority, which governing authority is responsible for matters relating to licensing of teachers, that is the National Teaching Council. You need to have it before you go and write your promotion aptitude test. Now let's come to this question two. Now we have spent about 26 minutes. Let's keep on going. Then, which is not a component of education system in Ghana? We have about four components of education system in Ghana. But here we are talking about the stakeholder is one, the content is one, then we also have the physical infrastructure is one. Then we also have the structure of Ghana education, the system, the education system in Ghana. So the structure is talking about um, the levels of the level of learning in our educational system. We have the KG level, we have the primary level, we have the JHS level, the senior high school level, that comprises with the senior high school and the TVET. Then we also have the tertiary level. That is the structure of the educational system that we have in Ghana. Then the stakeholders are talking about the people who are involved in managing the education. Then the content, what do the learners need to learn? That is the content. Then the physical infrastructure, where should they go and sit down and learn? That is what we talk about, the component of educational system in Ghana. So we have the stakeholders, we have the content, we have the physical infrastructure, and we have the structural system of education. So have it in mind. So which of them is not part? Decentralization is not part. Decentralization is not part. Now let's look at this question. What term is given to um, the benefit that accrue to society from the education of an individual, and the benefit that an educated person receive from his or her education? Let me take the question again. So um, what term is given to the benefit that accrue the society from education of an individual, and the benefit that an educated person receives from his or her education. So what benefit, the simply understanding of this question is that what benefit does the society get from an individual that has been educated by the society? Then what benefit does the educated person also gain from the education that was given to him or her by the society? So the term here is known as externalities, externalities of education. So externality of education simply means that the benefit that the society gets from the person that is being educated by the society, then at the same time, the benefit that the individual who have been educated by the society also get from the education. So externality of education. Externality of education is what an individual being educated by society, the benefit that he or she gets, and the benefit that the society also gets from the person that it has educated or education has produced. So, externality of education. So, have it in mind. Now, which age does basic education commence? This question, we continue to meet it all the time, especially those who are going to write principal superintendent. You meet these questions, or you meet these questions. Um, so the appropriate age in which basic education commences is 4 years. So basic education or formal education commence at the age of 4 years. So before a child is being sent to school, the child must get 4 years, or before the child start formal education, he must age 4 before the child is sent to school. That is why we don't have crèche. We don't have crèche at the right age to be educated. So the right age to be educated or to start formal education is age 4. Have it in mind. Then what name is given to the content matter of teaching? What you are teaching the children, what name is given to it? We call it the content matter. And in education, what is the proper name that is given to the content that you teach the learners? It is simply called educational programs. So educational programs or content is also known as educational programs. So what do you give to the learners? What do you teach the learners is what we term as educational programs. Educational programs, or the content that you give to the learner, the content that you teach the learners is called educational program. So have it in mind. Then the methods or pedagogy which teachers employed in the classroom or outside the classroom is called what? Now, the ways in which you teach the children, that is the method, that is the pedagogy. So the pedagogy which the teachers employed in the classroom or outside the classroom is called educational process. Educational process. The content is educational programs, and the methods or the pedagogy is called educational process. So have it in mind when you meet it. You're able to deal with it very well without not having any challenge. Now let's look at this question. The term referred to the total process of designing, implementing, and evaluating. The term referred to the total process of designing, implementing, and evaluating. What type of curriculum is that? It is what type of curriculum term is that? It is curriculum development. So when they are developing the curriculum, they designed, they implement, and evaluate what do you call it? The curriculum. So curriculum development refers to the total process of designing, implementing, and evaluating the curriculum. So have it in mind before you go and write your promotion aptitude test so that you come out with a flying colors. You come out successfully and we all be happy. That is what we need to learn about. I want to my PC is trying to um, misbehave, and let me reset it and bring back to you. Now, let's look at this question. As I was talking about the name that are given to the best Ghana, the best teacher award, the best teacher award. So when was the Ghana Teacher Prize instituted? When was it established? When was it um, commenced? So the Ghana Teachers Prize um, was started in 1995. So in 1995, that we established that the then government, Rawlings government, established that the teachers are doing a job and they need to be awarded. They need to be encouraged through awards and through so many things. So in 1990, Ghana Teacher Prize was established. 1995. Have it in mind. It can happen again, and you'll find yourself wanting. I don't want you to find to be battling with these questions in the promotion room. Is much of importance that we now let's look at this question. The first Western type school was gives in what year? Or which year was the Western type of education started in Ghana? Which year? That was 1529, 1529, 1529, 1529. So the year that the white people started education in Gold Coast, now Ghana, was 1529, the year 1529. So have it in mind when you meet it, you're able to do justice to this question or these questions. It is important that we come and give you something to depend on, to learn on before you go and write your promotion exams. Now, which one of the following acts established National Council for Curriculum and Assessment in the year 2008? In the year 2008, which act established NACA? Which act established NACA? That is Act 778. NACA was part of the three autonomous bodies that were established in the year 2008 through the Educational Reform Act. So have it in mind. Then, which of the following is not a basic component of education system? I've talked about the education system in Ghana, the component, talk about the content, the physical facilities, then the stakeholders and the structure. The structure. So funds are not part of um, the education, the component of education or educational system in Ghana. No. So have it in mind when you meet it, you're able to do justice to this. Now let's look at these terminologies. These terminologies, um, after that, we'll draw the curtains down and end the whole section. Part of the lesson has gone, and we need to end it here so that we can. So these terminologies, Dororo is the process where a person broke service voluntarily, is accepted back to the service, is known as what? So someone who has decided that no, I want to break the service, I want to stop teaching, go to abroad and do my things there, then I'll come back. I want to re-enter into the service. Um, what term is given to this? The term that is given to this one is re-engagement. Re-engagement. Re-engagement is a process where a person who broke the service voluntarily is accepted back into the service. Now, let's look at another one. The process where a person who broke the service due to disciplinary reason is accepted back into the service is known as. We can take Teacher Kodu um, issue as an example. So there was an issue concerning teacher Gojo that um, he demonstrates some insubordination and misconduct in the system and allegedly. So if that person um, has a disciplinary issue, was interdicted or terminated, and later on issues concerning him come out to be false and he's brought back to the service, that one is reinstatement. You have been interdicted and going through disciplinary issues, or you have been forcibly terminated of your contract with GES, and when an independent body looked into your matter and saw that all the claims that were leveled against you were false and you are being brought back to the service, it is called reinstatement. Reinstatement. So have it in mind. Have it in mind. Then the introduction of salary, the introduction of salary of a person whose name has gone off the payroll for less than a year is known as reactivation. This one usually happens. So this is what we have for you this evening, and most grateful for those who came back again to join us and learn with us. You're most welcome, and I'm grateful to you. Don't forget to subscribe and give a thumb up to this video. Right after that, contribute your quota and support us to bring you these questions. Tomorrow we will see you once again, and have a good night, and God bless you for joining. Bye bye.